I am back with all of my bipolar glory. I need to update regularly, but I just don't. So these are the books that have disappointed me the most. Like, I was very sad, they broke my heart, and now I'm trying to repair the pieces. So these books were all wonderful in their own right. This is just my opinion. Please don't attack me. I love you forever. Okay, so let's get started. Hashtag thumbnail. The first book that we're going to talk about that disappointed me is one of the most heartbreaking books that I've ever read. And not because it was like heartbreaking because like I fangirled so hard and things happen. No, it was just heartbreaking because I love her other series and this series just fell short for me. I am going to talk about, and don't attack me, please don't attack me. Just stay calm. Throne of Glass. We're going to talk about that book. So, that book had so much potential. Like, the fucking plot sounded amazing. The characters sounded badass. It was just poorly executed. So poorly executed. So, for those of you who don't know, Throne of Glass is by Sarah J. Maas. And it's about this girl who is supposedly an assassin. She does things and she's supposedly a badass, and she enters this contest to get out of the prison thing, the like concentration camp she's been in, and like she's under the king's like thing and blah blah blah. Anyway, so that sounds pretty like dope, right? Like that sounds fucking dope. But when you start reading it, it is just so awful that I almost scraped my eyeballs out. And granted, I didn't know this until after I didn't finish reading it. I got to about 20 pages before the book ended, and I just threw the book across the room and said, fuck it, I'm done, I'm not doing this anymore, I need to find myself a good book, I need to go read ACOTAR again, and everything will be right in the world. That was how I felt about it. Selena, however the fuck you want to say it. My music went off again. Selena just was all fucking talk and no action. And what pissed me off the most about that book, and I've heard similar complaints, is that the book is supposed to be like an action fantasy series. Now when it comes to the actual competition part that she's competing in, so she gets out of the concentration camp, okay? We don't get to see it hardly ever. Like hardly ever. Maybe one or two scenes is in it and it's like a brief just like gloss over the competition, and then it's back to like, what am I gonna wear? Like, bitch, no! You're an assassin! And I know like some feminists are gonna jump all over me and be like, well, she can do both. Yes, she can, I agree, but this book is not about what she's wearing. This book is supposed to be about this competition. That's what the whole thing is lined out to be. Like, that's what the book is marketed as. Like, action fantasy, high fantasy. It did not impress me. The love interests were just dull. The character development was just dull. And I've heard maybe I need to push past the first book and go to the second book, but I can't. It was bad. I don't want to. I'm sorry, I don't. The second book I'm going to talk about is one I just read. And this one's a pretty unpopular one. It's called When My Heart Was Wicked. And obviously I bought this because the cover is freaking gorgeous on this book. And normally standalones like this, they're pretty cute and adorable and awesome. And I read this in October and I was very much so looking forward to the creepy vibe. However, don't judge a book by its cover. I know, you're not supposed to do that, but I did. But let me just read you the back, because it was very misleading. The birds came to his funeral. They flew in from the clouds, and people put up their umbrellas even though there was no rain. The birds had come to grieve for my dad. They landed on the weeping angel of grief and looked on, their black eyes like river stones. I wondered even then if my mother was watching, somehow from some undetected place. Very misleading because her dad is mentioned maybe a handful of times in this book, and basically it's just like an adolescent mindfuck. Well, you know what? I did like this book in its own right. It was pretty good. It was okay. I liked it when I first finished it, but then you know when you first finish a book versus a couple of days after you finish it and then you realize there was like a lot wrong with it, and then you realize also you didn't enjoy it as much as like your favorite book, so like it wasn't that good. I don't know, maybe that's just me. The whole time it felt like a Mara Dyer ripoff with hints of paganism and just typical growing up stuff, like with her mom. She's having issues with her mom, and her mom's bipolar, but she's also like a witch, and she's a crazy bitch. It was just saddening that it wasn't that great. And it's by Trisha Sterling. I have never read anything else by her. It says this is her first novel, so this is the only thing we can judge her writing by. And the writing style was beautiful. I will not lie. The writing style was beautiful, but the plot just like got lost in here somehow. There was no plot. There really was no plot. I'm not saying it was awful. It just disappointed me because I was so amped for October, and then this is going to be like my October book, you know, but whatever. So anyways, moving on. So the next book that was really disappointing to me, and don't eat my face, please, was Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe. Yes, I know. It's LGBT, however, it just... it's kind of marketed as a romance. At least that was what I gathered, and it's like a coming of age gay story. It's still like just sweeping that under the rug, I feel like, until the very end of the book. So I'm looking forward to the sequel of this so they can talk a little bit more in detail about, you know, the LGBT issues and stuff, and talk about Dante's and Aries' relationship, because in this book it was just kind of strange. Like, I don't even think Dante was there for half of the book, if I remember correctly. Like, they were just writing letters to each other, and I was like, what the hell? Why? Like, they're supposed to, like, be in love with each other. So that kind of made me annoyed. But, I mean, honestly, I would recommend you to read this, but it was only, like, a 4 out of 5 stars for me. It's very hard to get a 5-star for me. I'm very picky. Okay, the next book is an older book, and that is Sweep by Kate Tiernan. And actually, this isn't the book I'm going to talk about. It is the second book in this series, or the second bind-up of these 3 books in the series that I was disappointed by. This one was really, really, really good, and I loved all of it, and it was amazing and beautiful and just magical. She like gets in this coven with this beautiful boy, and they start doing beautiful magical stuff, and it's amazing. And if you're a pagan, I would definitely recommend reading this, especially if you're a beginner pagan, because it has some great stuff, and you don't have to like read an informational book to get that knowledge. You can read this and enjoy the story and actually get some knowledge about the religion and the following, or whatever you want to call it. I love this series for that reason, but the second bind-up, so I guess it would be the 4th, 5th, and 6th book technically, it just got really screwed up. Like, the main love interest just kind of disappeared, and we were like, what's happening? I don't know. And it was just very sad. So, yeah. So that was disappointing. And lastly, I gotta turn the music back on. The last book that was disappointing to me was Carry On by Rainbow Rowell. Now, this one was disappointing. I fucking love this book. However, it was disappointing because there was so much hype. So much hype. And that can ruin a book, honestly. Because if you go into it thinking it's gonna be the best damn book of your entire life, and it's just not, then it's very disappointing. I loved Simon and Baz's relationship and their parts in this, but there were just some parts in this book that did not need to be there. Like, Penny's point of view, do we need that? The mage's point of view, did we need that? Just, like, certain things where I was like, do we really need that? It's kind of a catch-22 because also this is supposedly supposed to be written as fan fiction, and it does read almost exactly like you would imagine a fan fiction to read. 5 out of 5 stars for that reason. 4 out of 5 stars for the fact that there just could have been some parts that were cut out. Okay, I'm gonna say about this much. Actually, literally, I turned to it. Exactly. That's when Baz enters, okay? This is his first scene. He's not even in the book for this much of the book. He's not even in it for that much of the book. What the fuck, Rainbow Rowell? What the fuck? This is a love story. I want a cutesy romance. And we don't even get him in there for that much of the book. I love you. I love you. I love your books. That was frustrating. That was really frustrating for me. I just wanted to see them make out a lot. And you know what? I wanted some sexy times. I really, really wanted some sexy times. Anyway, so those are all the books that I have to talk about today. I hope you enjoyed my rant. It was great. I will talk to you guys another day. Bye.